Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus reports. Today is March 14th, 2024. Happy Pi Day, everybody. And this is Barry on football.
Happy Pi Day. Oh my God. This is Ben Dickerson. I'm your co-host. Happy Pi Day.
Yeah, there you go.
So we made it through the legal tampering period, and we are now one day deep into the official free agent signing period. So although some deals were done and agreements made, now these players can officially take their physicals and sign with their new teams and get their new contracts underway.
All right. Yeah, New Year is here. Is it every year on Pi Day? Is that an NFL coincidence? We'll have to see.
Jesus.
But we were talking about how the news comes fast and furious. So it was like, even as far as our page is concerned, after a while, I just had to pick and choose some things that we would, share on the page because it was just flying by and it was already a crazy day. But we're going to jump right into it because you've done some homework, Ben.
Yes, I have.
So you have a follow-up on your is it top 10 free agents?
I believe I had the top 10 free agents, my top 10 free agents, which pretty much was the consensus top 10 free agents for just about everybody. But I thought they were the most interesting guys that were out there in free agency and waiting to be either franchise tagged, re-signed, or move on to a new team. And I just had some developments in reference to those guys.
Okay, all right. And something to do with running backs?
Yes. And I find this one extremely interesting because remember, around this time last year, the big thing was the devaluation of the running back position and how teams were feeling like they didn't want to pay running backs what some people believed was their real true market value. The fact that the running back position could be handled by committees rather than bell cow backs that needed to be paid accordingly. This was the big rage this time last year, and there were a number of really good running backs out there, veteran running backs that were coming up on new contract time, and the teams were not entertaining giving them multi-year deals and upping their salaries. And in fact, several of them got franchise tag.
I'm going to go back and take a second look, but it seemed as if the average salary was somewhat close to what they were paying on the franchise tag anyway. When you look at it, difference was they got 2-3 years, of a contract as opposed to the 1 year franchise agreement, which Kirk Cousins showed that if you know how to work the franchise tag, you can make some serious money if you can stay healthy. But yeah, we'll take a look at that. All right. And then we'll go to Ben and Barry on football on Facebook, where we've got some serious current events, things popping, and some news that maybe people were not aware of. So to get started, Ben, you're going to do your follow-up on your top 10 free agents.
Yes, sir. I'm going to do them in the same order that I first spoke of them last week. And I don't want to get this to be too long, so I may skip over some pertinent information. If, in fact, you have a question about something, I may have it in my notes and be able to answer it for you. But my number one free agent last week was Chris Jones, the defensive tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Chiefs have re-signed Mr. Jones, which is great and kind of what I was anticipating. They gave him a 5-year deal. That's big, especially for that position. A 5-year deal for $160 million, 95 of which is guaranteed. That comes to about $32 million per year. That's a big deal, and it's a big signing for the Kansas City Chiefs, the champions. The next second best guy I thought, or next most important free agent out there, was my guy, Kirk Cousins, the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. He has, and I believe when we talked about Kirk Cousins last week, you may have said something in reference to where you thought he might go, or maybe asked me. I can't remember exactly how the conversation went, but I believe I said, I can't see this guy not re-signing with the Vikings. I can't see him wanting to willingly leave Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, who just got there and has proved himself to be a really good wide receiver. Not to mention they just got Hockenson. They got a lot of weapons over there. But guess what? He did it anyway. The master of the guaranteed, the master of the guaranteed contract has done it again. He has signed with the Atlanta Falcons for 4 years and $180 million, 50 of which comes in a signing bonus and 100 of which is guaranteed. So again, he basically got a fully guaranteed, because signing bonuses are guaranteed. You get that money in one check. A fully guaranteed contract, once again, $45 million per year, roughly.
I think you also said that if he went anywhere, the Falcons would be a great place to go.
Yes, I did, because of the talent on their offense. And sure enough, he's moving to a nice situation. In fact, and we could make quite a long conversation about this if we wanted to. I know we don't want to, but I'm hearing talk out there, and believe me, it's way too early for this, okay? But I'm hearing Super Bowl contender being mentioned after the Atlanta Falcons names. It's way too early for that.
I think
yeah,
the basis of that is the division that they're in.
Oh, there's no doubt that people are picking them to win the division.
Yeah, it's eminently winnable down there. And so, once you win your division, then, anything's possible. So that would be great for him. And as much as I beat up on Kirk Cousins, he's my money hero, no doubt about it. Also, not just because of how much he makes, but you know what they say, how much you keep.
Exactly.
So if he made $400 million, I'm thinking he still got $399 million.
Exactly. When you get these big signing bonuses and big chunks of your contract guaranteed money, you can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong with that. And what was Kirk Cousins say? He was riding around in the same old beat up van for years and years. He was with Washington, So he probably traded in for another used van.
Yeah, when you think about it, when you get franchise tag, that money's guaranteed too.
That's the thing. That's what I was saying.
Right.
He's the master of the franchise tag. He's like, okay,
Yeah.
franchise tag me. I'm gonna make as much as the top 5, contracts. Oh,
right. And I'm on a crappy team.
Second year in a row.
And I'm on a crappy team, so it don't matter if I win or not.
And you want to say franchise me in the second year, then that raises my guarantee to what? I don't know what of the top 5, but now he's really up there. So whether he wins or not, he's making the money that the big boys is making, guaranteed, and lump sum practically. So what you gonna say about that? And like you said, recently, he's played pretty well. I've talked about him and I've used the term mind fart and all of that. But I do also believe that if you're going to win a championship, you have to knock on the door a few times. You know what I mean? There's very few teams that get there for the first time winning. They usually are playing at a high level and then things fall into place for them, And so that's what I believe would have to happen with him. And it could happen because he's playing at a high level. He has been playing at a high level, there's no doubt about it. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, down there. Okay, what else you got?
So the next guy is the defensive player. That would be Jalen Johnson, the cornerback for the Chicago Bears. The Bears re-signed him for 4 years, $76 million. That's $19 million per year. That's a big re-signing for the Bears. Obviously, the position that they're in and needing so much to keep their team afloat while they figure out their quarterback situation. It was very important for them to sign a good defensive player. This is not somebody that they wanted to let get away. So they did not let him get away, signed him for 4 years, gave him a really nice deal. It is 19 per year, 19 million per year, but none of it is guaranteed. Next guy up, another corner, L'Jarius Sneed for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs placed the non-exclusive franchise tag on Sneed. That would give him 1 year, 19.8 million fully guaranteed. Now, the non-exclusive tag means he can talk to other teams, or he can have his agent talk to other teams and try to get them to work out a trade with the Chiefs for him. As far as up to today, as far as I know, that has not happened yet. And if it doesn't happen, then he will have to, well, he doesn't have to sign his tag, but if he signs the tag, then he'll get 19.8 fully guaranteed for this year, which ain't nothing to sneeze at, trust me. Next guy up, another defensive player, but a defensive tackle. Right up there with Chris Jones, not quite as great as Chris Jones, but he's really pushing it. That would be Christian Wilkins from the Dolphins. He has gone to the Las Vegas Raiders. They signed him for 4 years, 110 million. That includes 84.75 guaranteed. That's about 27.5 million per year. Big deal for Christian Wilkins. I don't know if he's going to be able to improve the Raiders defense that much, but he's certainly going to get paid to do so. Next guy up, Antoine Winfield Jr. He's a safety from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs placed the franchise tag on him. This is the regular tag. This is not the non-exclusive tag. It will pay him 17.1 million fully guaranteed for the upcoming year. T. Higgins from the Bengals, the wide receiver. Bengals placed the franchise tag on Higgins. That's 21.8 million fully guaranteed for this season coming up. He really, this right here with Higgins and the Bengals reminds me of the situation with Saquon and the Giants. He really wanted to stay in Cincinnati, but now he's asking for a trade because the team has not even attempted to discuss a long-term deal with him. So he wanted to work something out with them. I don't know if maybe they put a number out, he put a number out, they didn't agree, and they just shut down negotiations. I don't know exactly what happened, but it doesn't look like they're willing to talk with him about a deal anywhere close to what he's looking for. So he's going to have to get 21.8 million for the season on the franchise tag if he decides to sign it and play. And I assume that most of the time, these guys, when it gets down to this point, it's like, you know what? Do I want to sit out for a year? Maybe teams will look at me different next year, or do I just want to sign, stay with my teammates, play it out, bet on myself, and try to get a long-term deal somewhere else. Okay, so I got one more guy for you, last but not least, and this one turned out to be the biggest one for me personally, is Brian Burns, the edge rusher from the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers placed the non-exclusive franchise tag on Burns, which would have paid him 22.3 million guaranteed for this upcoming year. Like I said before, the non-exclusive tag allowed him to shop for a team willing to trade for him, and he found one. That would be my New York Football Giants. The Giants traded a second-round pick in this year's draft and a fifth-round pick in the 2025 draft for Burns. They signed him to a 5-year deal worth 150 million with 87.5 of it guaranteed. That's 30 million per year. So he went from a tag number of 22.3 million a year to 30 million a year. Big plus for Brian Burns, and I hope he pays the team back with about 20 sacks.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds great. That sounds great. So, big moves, big money. It's one thing for you to grow up and be a quarterback in the NFL. Another thing for you to grow and be an edge rusher. Benny, let's hit these running backs you've been studying lately.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So at the time I made my top 10 list, there were no running backs on there. We still had this whole the running back position has been devalued thing hanging over our heads. And then as we got closer and closer to actually once we got into the legal tampering period, running backs started flying off the board like crazy, and a bunch of them got multi-year deals. Last year, all the talk was about the evaluation of the running back position. No running back as of last year, other than Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara, was making more than $13 million per year on a multi-year contract until the Colts, whose goofball owner was talking a whole bunch of trash about the evaluation of the position. He doesn't want to do this and that, in reference to, of all people, Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the league, if not the best. Okay. They signed Jonathan Taylor around midseason to a 3-year extension worth $42 million, $14 million per year. Okay. So you got 3 years, 42 million, 14 per year. Now, players are moving and multi-year contracts are popping. Josh Jacobs had to sign the tag with the Raiders last year. He signs with the Packers for 4 years, 48 million, 12.5 guaranteed. Saquon Barkley signs with the Eagles for 3 years, 37.75 million, 26 million guaranteed. Tony Pollard leaves the Cowboys, signs with the Titans, 3 years, 24 million. None of it's guaranteed. He's only going to make 8 million per year, but it is a multi-year deal. A lot of times that's important for guys. And these young guys possibly can get a third big contract if they're able to stay healthy and hang around. DeAndre Swift leaves the Eagles, signs with the Bears. And he did this really fast. Like the day they let him go, the Bears snatched him up within hours. 3 years, 24 million, 15.3 guaranteed. That's also 8 million per year. Devin Singletary, after a career year with the Texans last year, signed with my Giants, 3 years, 16.5 million. None of it's guaranteed. It's only 5.5 million per year, but he's still young. He's only about 25 years old. So he could possibly work his way into another good contract if he plays really well. Derrick Henry, the big name in this whole free agent running back thing, rather, I should say. He signed with the Ravens. This really looks like a good match. Actually, all these guys look like a good match for the teams that they've gone to just about. But this one really looks like a good match. He signed with the Ravens. It's only for 2 years because he's getting, if he's not 30, he's close to 30. I think he's actually 30. 16 million, 9 million guaranteed. That's only 8 million per year for Derrick Henry. You might say, oh, that ain't much. But guess what? He's made a lot of money already. And now he's getting to the point in his career where he wants to try to win a ring. So he went to the right place. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes if you make your money early, then you can make less money on the back end of your career in pursuit of a Super Bowl championship. And it looks like that's what Derrick Henry's trying to do. And we got Antonio Gibson, played for the Commanders. He's now with the Patriots.
I want to say this about the Derrick Henry.
Yes.
You're talking about putting one of the top running backs in the league and
yes.
him up with one of the top 2, 3, 4 quarterbacks in the league.
Yes.
Sounds like a natural win.
Yes.
But the style of football that the Ravens play, especially if they decide to play a lot of option stuff, a lot of fake the handoff, you know what I mean?
Yes.
I haven't seen, does Henry have much experience in that type of an offense? It seems a little it seems like maybe something's a little just not right about that. I mean, normally you just turn around, hand it off, and bam, he hits that line, and you know what I mean? So all of that other stuff, just seems to be a little new. And I don't know if it's new to him or not. He might have did it in college. You tell me.
The offenses that he's played in with the Titans have been pretty much under center, handed off, smash mouth. They haven't had option style quarterbacks. So it wouldn't make sense for them to run that particular type of scheme. So in that respect, I would say he may be a bit unfamiliar with it.
What about college? You think that he didn't do anything in college?
He played at Alabama, so they were pretty much downhill. Let's go. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean he can't do it because, let's face it, the option really is predicated on the read by the quarterback. So if he sticks it in his belly and he pulls it back out, so it's just a matter of them working on the mesh point. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a big deal for him. He's going to make it so that Lamar becomes even more dangerous with the threat of running the ball and being able to pass the ball when they try to load the box. So
Lamar's a master at the fake handoff stuff.
Yes, he's great with that.
He's really good at that. And let's face it, if you stick it in Derrick Henry's belly, linebackers in the line all have to respect that.
Yes.
So I understand what you're saying. It just seemed a little different than what I'm used to seeing him play.
It is
style of ball, and I was just wondering how that might affect. Okay,
it is. And I'll tell you this also. While with the Titans, he did not catch a lot of passes, but they did throw the ball to him, and he did show some efficiency, being able to catch the ball out in space. So again, it may not be as exciting as Saquon with the Eagles should be. I'm not going to say it's going to be, should be, but that's another element that he brings. So this should be interesting. I'm looking forward to that combination. A couple more guys here that people might care about. Antonio Gibson was part of a 1-2 punch with the Commanders. He has left to go to sign with the Patriots for 3 years, 11.25, 5.3 of that's guaranteed. He will probably move into another committee with Ramondre Stevenson up in New England. Austin Eckler, who had a disappointing season with the Chargers last year, signed with the Commanders for 2 years, $8.34 million. Half of that, 4.21, is guaranteed. That's a really, I'm disappointed in Eckler. He did a lot of talking about we can't let them devalue our position. We need to really step up and show these owners how important our position is. And then he has a crappy year and has to sign with the Commanders for this. He's a bigger star than this. I'm sorry. 4.17 per year. He should be. I don't even know what to say. Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones has been let go by the Green Bay Packers. This one I did not see coming. I really didn't. He signed with the Vikings.
This has to be a money move because I can't, other than Aaron Jones' injury, history.
Well,
I don't see a big improvement.
Here's the deal. They got Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is younger. Okay. And Aaron Jones is coming off of a fresh injury. So in that respect, I understand what they're doing. And he pretty much was the bell cow. I know they played A.J. Dillon a good amount, but it was pretty obvious that Aaron Jones, pretty obvious to me. I don't know. Your son's a Packers fan. You can ask him. It's pretty much, I believe that Aaron Jones was the focal point of their running game. They just had A.J. Dillon there to help keep him healthy, and to take maybe a couple first down and goal line runs. But Aaron Jones was the main guy there. But yeah, they decided rather than to pay him a multi-year contract, they would let him go, grab Josh Jacobs, give him the multi-year because he's a younger player. You know what I mean? Let Aaron Jones go. He found a place to go right away, went to the Vikings because they're down. They don't really have a running back. They're down to like their backup guy, Ty Chandler. So he should probably step right in and become the starter in Minnesota. And he's going to make $7 million a year. Zach Moss is my last guy. Zach Moss was a backup running back to Singletary, or kind of a 1-2 punch to Singletary in Buffalo for the early years of his career. Then he moved on to the Colts. And when Jonathan Taylor went down in training camp and was going through his contract, negotiations, Zach Moss really stepped up and had a big, big season last year for the Colts. So he was able to turn that into a free agent move over to the Cincinnati Bengals, who let Mr. Mixon go. I didn't see that one coming either. But Mixon's gone. Zach Moss is now with the Bengals. He's younger. He got a 2-year deal for $8 million. So he's basically betting on himself, making $8 million, which ain't bad. None of it's guaranteed. So again, he's going to have to prove himself, but he can probably work his way into another multi-year deal after that 2-year deal is done. And I'm sure that's what he's going to be pushing for. That's all I had there. I thought I had Mixon's stuff down here, but I don't.
Well, Mixon was a surprise. I like Mixon. I'm one of those guys that kind of a Mixon fan. It's like, so I was surprised. And I was surprised with Aaron Jones. Again, he made some good points about that,
Both of those were similar type moves as far as the teams were concerned, I'm sure. You got age and the prospect of having to pay a 2 or 3 year deal. So we'll take a younger guy, give him 2 or 3 years, and let you go.
Oh, that's what they were doing. I mean, when you say let you go, the you was some pretty good football.
It was Zach Moss and Joe Mixon, Joe Mixon was, And let me remind people out there, especially Eagles fans, I'm just going to say this real fast. I'm sure you're going to hear me say this again. There is no loyalty in professional sports, okay? There's no loyalty in professional sports. It is a business. All right? Let's remember that.
Yeah, and so much talk about family and
that's all great, but that's usually between the players, for real.
I told one of our close friends whose son is a former Eagle, I said, don't buy too much of that green stuff, because he's a professional football player.
Right.
So he's gonna wind up, if he's lucky, getting 2 or 3 other teams that are interested in him. So, don't buy too much of that green stuff. I mean, of course, his loyalties are here. He's from here, but, long story short, that's what happened, So,
exactly.
They're professional football players. And it's, you hear them, because even Chris Jones said, I want to retire a Chief. They say, I think, the right things.
Yeah.
That sounds so great to the fans, but hey, look, man, if the Sixers could trade Dr. J, anybody could have traded. As far as I'm concerned.
Bro, they had me messed up on that
one. Oh my God, Anyway, that's where that, my feelings on that come from way back then. All right, Benny. That was some good work there, man. Running backs, free agents. We got caught up all in a few minutes there. For anybody who likes a quick summary, this is the place to go. Let's take a look at our Facebook page. All right, Benny, we're here at Ben and Barry on Football on Facebook. We have Minshew, a little article here talking about Minshew to the Raiders. And when we talked about how important it is, or what the backup quarterbacks, we call that the best job in the NFL. And these guys have long histories. And the thing about it, long histories now. I don't know if they're considering Minshew as a potential starter for real. They're talking about he'll compete with Aiden O'Connell. Aiden played okay at times, but I don't think he was scaring anybody. So what do you think about Minshew to the Raiders?
Well, like we talked about with these backup quarterbacks, especially, let's remember, in this particular case, Gardner Minshew was originally a starter when he was with Jacksonville. He became a backup. So he's proven himself to be a competent starter in the NFL. He's had a decent career as a backup and being ready to come in if the starter gets hurt with the Colts. Now he's going to move on here and have another chance to be a starter with the Raiders. Okay. I think this is a good move for Gardner Minshew. I think he'll do well. I'm sure they like Aiden O'Connell. They don't have a whole lot of money invested in Aiden O'Connell. This is only going to be his second year. So they'll keep him around. They'll let him compete. It's kind of like the situation. This is a little similar to the situation that we talked about last year with Tampa Bay when Baker first came in. They called it a competition. You didn't see any competition at all. You're like, oh, they're going to give that job to Baker. I think Kyle Trask actually did do his best to win that job. And I kind of like Kyle Trask, but it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that Baker would take over there. I think we have the same situation here. Aiden O'Connell has been there. He knows the system and all that, but he's still young. He's still on his rookie contract. And when he had his chance to get some starts in, he really didn't make that big of a difference. So I believe they're bringing Gardner in there to be the starter. There is a possibility that somewhere in the draft, and I promise everybody, I will have my first mock draft 1.0 ready for you guys next week. I promise. Okay, this free agent thing, it's got my head spinning. But unless they pick up a quarterback in the draft to bring in, which I don't think they will, because like I said, it's only O'Connell's second year. I believe Gardner Minshew's going there to be the starter. He's proven himself to be able to be a starting quarterback and played fairly well with the Colts last year, to tell you the truth. So, I like Gardner there. I think he's going to do a good job.
The situation with Gardner and Baker, I'm hoping that Justin Fields is looking at that and not having too much of an ego play to take a backup position if it's afforded to him. Because he's young enough.
Same scenario. You're right.
There's some, these guys, Flacco is probably the backup story of last year and this year because he's still getting contracts. But long story short, it's don't let your ego keep you from your long-term, having a long-term career in the NFL is all I guess I'm saying. Look at Gardner, look at Baker. Those are guys that were starters. They took the backup. Now they're back to starting again. Much better than they were, probably when they first started. They came out of college and starting, and now they're experienced guys. So that's what I had for that. Malcolm Butler is retiring, Ben. Super Bowl hero, ex-Patriot cornerback. Talks about his life after football, including a book. Uh-oh. I said to you when we were in the pre-production discussions, his life got weird after this.
It did. But this story is great unto itself. They knew through film sessions that the Seahawks liked to run this play when they got in the red zone, and especially when they were really close to the goal line. They also knew they had Marshawn Lynch and would probably run the ball, but they prepared for this play just in case. That's great coaching by Bill Belichick. And during the course of the week before the Super Bowl, he kept getting burnt in practice on his play. He couldn't quite seem to be able to make the move that he needed to make to break up the play. Then the Super Bowl comes. Everybody and their mother thought Marshawn Lynch was going to get the ball, but they ran this play, and he was ready, made the pickoff, and won the game for the Patriots. This game was all but lost, and he snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. So, bravo, Malcolm Butler, if for nothing else. But you're right. After this, his career did get weird.
The weirdest part being that when the Patriots were in the Super Bowl, what, the following year or so,
Mm-hmm.
they mysteriously locked him to the bench and gave him zero playing. And we're like, wait a minute, wasn't he your last year Super Bowl hero? And he won't. And
he started all year, I think.
well, I'm thinking that that's what we're going to read about in the book.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
All right, Malcolm Butler, congratulations. Enjoy your retirement, sir. Leonard Floyd is going to the Niners on a 2-year deal, edge rusher. They said, okay, Mr. Chase Young, we saw you loafing. You're out of here.
I'm hearing Chase Young's name kicked all around. He could end up anywhere. I believe he's still a free agent right now. But yeah, they made a quick move to fill in that spot with a veteran player who's still got some juice left. So we'll see how he makes it over there on the opposite side of Mr. Bosa.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and they let Eric Armstead go. So I'm looking to see filling all of that in. Yeah, I know.
I think they'll fill that in the draft.
Let me simply say for all you Madden guys out there, this is a really weird time of year to play Madden because we know who's now on other teams. The
Right.
game has not been updated like that. So you're still playing with the old version, you know, and
Right.
that's why it's so exciting when August rolls around and you get to play the new game because now you got all these new players. You got to figure it out as a player of the game because you know Leonard Floyd. What am I going to do with him when I'm playing with the Niners and all the other guys? So it's going to be really, really interesting. A lot of changes this season. What can I tell you? Jacoby Brissett is going back to the Patriots on a 1-year, $8 million deal. Again, a backup quarterback who's now getting $8 million. Ain't exactly starting quarterback money, but that's nice money, you know. 31 years old, selected by the Patriots in the 3rd round. So congratulations to Jacoby Brissett. So we just got a little breaking news on that.
Once again, here's a guy who makes sure that he keeps himself relevant, which is what you have to do when you're backup. Let's face it, if you're a backup on a team with a star quarterback and the guy never gets hurt, or if he gets hurt for like a week or two and then he comes right back, you don't really get a chance to shine. And when you do get an opportunity to shine, you have to make sure that you do. And Jacoby Brissett is one of those guys. He takes advantage of his opportunities, and now he has an opportunity to possibly start. Now, I have no doubt in my mind, and you'll find this out next week when I do my first mock draft. I have no doubt in my mind that the Patriots are going to draft the quarterback with their first pick. I believe they have the number 3 pick overall. However, if you have a Jacoby Brissett in your quarterback room, he can start and kind of ease the new guy in. But believe me, when you pick a quarterback that high, you expect this guy to be starting sooner than later.
Absolutely. All right.
That's your boy.
Boyer. You know, this is the tough part of playing backup quarterback. You could possibly get released. And they brought in Minshew. They kept Aiden O'Connell. That made him dispensable. So we'll see what happens with him. That's the tough part.
Yeah, you forgot about the other guy.
Did I?
Their quarterback room was Aiden O'Connell, still on a rookie deal, only his 2nd year, Boyer, and Garoppolo.
Yeah, he's the other guy, all right.
You old heads, right? We don't need you old heads. We can bring in Gardner Minshew, who's younger than both of y'all and just as good as both of y'all, and let you guys hit the bricks.
Can't imagine where Garoppolo is going to wind up, or if he's going to wind up anywhere.
I don't know. I don't know if he's backup quarterback material, to tell you the truth.
Well, if he ain't starting quarterback and he ain't backup quarterback, he'll be making Sunday morning commentary with the crew.
That could happen. He's a handsome dude.
Oh my goodness. My daughter loves him.
Yeah.
Tara's like, oh, when his picture shows up, she stops for a moment. So, take it easy. Jameis is going to the Browns.
Jameis. So when you think about it, this is actually a good move. First of all, we were just talking about backup quarterbacks, making sure they keep themselves relevant. Somehow, in very limited opportunities, Jameis has been able to do that. And when you look at him stature-wise, he's kind of similar to Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So this one kind of makes sense.
We shall see. We shall see.
Shall see.
Is that the team that had Flacco?
Flacco's gone.
I know. Had.
Oh, had, yeah. Yes.
Okay. Best of luck to James. We like to make fun with him, but you know. This was an NFL New Year. That's why everything was flowing like this, Benny. Everybody's getting it. They had all made these agreements, but they couldn't sign them. The New Year hit, now the signings just signing away there. You know what I mean? Did we talk about Bobby Wagner?
Bobby Wagner, great player, possible Hall of Famer, tell you the truth. He has now moved on to where? Dallas Cowboys? Commanders. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking Dan Quinn. But Dan Quinn has moved on to the Commanders. Right. So Bobby's reuniting with his old defensive coordinator. This is a good match. He's a veteran player. He'll be good in their locker room. This is a good move for him.
Good move, man. I like Bobby Wagner. Despite the fact he was in my division with my boys there. Calvin Ridley got a signing, 4-year, $92 million. Woo!
I was surprised at this one.
Why?
Because I thought after his little suspension and all that stuff that he would try to go someplace where he would have a little bit more proven quarterback. But he went for the money and went to the Titans. I have no idea what the Titans are going to do as far as that. It looks like they're going to stick with Will Levis and try to make him work. I don't know. He'll make DeAndre Hopkins better.
Yeah.
You know, having him on the field. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we'll see.
All right, Betty, now. The NFL has a little investigation going on. There's some suspicions about tampering from the Philadelphia Eagles. From what I heard in the morning sports talk show, they were like, they might take a draft pick or so. We don't care. It's not going to be a big deal. What do you think?
Well, first of all, if they take a draft pick, that means the team was guilty. This is a real story. The outcome of it may not be real serious, but this is a real story. This isn't like that Caleb Williams NIL crap. This is real. The same thing is happening with the Falcons and Kirk Cousins. Evidently, the word is out that they spoke to Kirk Cousins during or before the legal tampering period. The deal is the legal tampering period means that you can tamper, but you can only talk to the player's representation. You cannot talk to the player themselves. And word is that Kirk Cousins actually took a physical with the Atlanta team doctors, which would be very illegal. Evidently, he wanted this deal to go down, and they had some question about his, he's coming off an Achilles. I don't blame him. But yeah, if that happened, there's going to be some repercussions.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that Kirk Cousins information. Speaking of Kirk Cousins, our man Cam had a little something to say about that $180 million contract. He said it was alarming.
It was alarming.
Alarming to see, considering the number of playoff wins that Kirk had. Now, Benny, this is what I thought was very interesting about what he had to say. It says here in the article, he said he's not upset about seeing what other players get, despite being out of the NFL at a younger age than many. But he said that 34-year-old believes one of the reasons Kirk appeals to teams is because he does not make a lot of noise off the field. He said the four-time Pro Bowler has benefited from a lot of things going right and gets a pass on a lot of stuff because he's not a big personality. We don't see Kirk Cousins outside of football. It's real quiet, Luke said, adding that Cousins is a safe pick. I thought that in and of itself was hilarious, because you then know that had maybe you kept your mouth shut and quit trying to run around being Mr. Personality, you might have got them some of them big contracts.
Might still be playing.
He might still be playing if he wasn't insistent on having his hair poking out the top of his head. It's just interesting. And I mean, I know he's made enough money and he's probably making money, but live and learn, I guess.
His biggest opportunity to get some more longevity into his career was when the Patriots took a flyer on him and gave him an opportunity to come in there and play over Mac Jones, a guy that they drafted very high. And he played okay. That's all. That's all.
Yeah.
Now I'm sure his argument would be he didn't have a lot to work with, but guess what? If you're that guy, you could have done a lot better with what you had there, and he didn't. I'm not saying he stunk. I'm just saying he played okay. He didn't impress anybody.
He got beat out by Mac Jones.
Pretty much. And that's
you get beat out by Mac Jones. That does not help your legacy, Adam.
Right. So my thing is, just like you, he's got a lot of nerve talking about Kirk Cousins, a guy who put up big time numbers. You look Kirk Cousins' numbers, his numbers are big time numbers. You want to talk about wins? Okay, wins is a team stat, which people have to be reminded of, okay? And not saying he was on terrible teams. He was on some good Vikings teams, but those teams weren't good enough. He put up good numbers. The defenses gave up touchdowns. He lost games. Quarterbacks take the hit for that. I understand that, but some of that, a good portion of that, wasn't his fault. He had an issue with turnovers. Who doesn't have an issue with turnovers? But in fact, there's quarterbacks out there that have far worse issues with turnovers than Kirk Cousins. But for the most part, he's looked at as a guy who can contribute to a team winning because he's a really good quarterback, puts up really good numbers. He's very accurate. His arm is still strong. He's smart. He can learn any scheme, and he can lead your team. He's a leader, and he plays very well when he's out there on the field. And if you can stack a team like the Vikings thought they had stacked a team and got him. Remember when they got him, they thought because of his numbers, he would get them over the hump. Now, it didn't happen, but you can't blame it all on him. Now here comes Atlanta doing the same thing. They think with all that young offensive talent they got, they plug a few guys in on that defense, bring him in, he can get them over the hump. It might happen. I don't personally think it will, but it could happen. I think if he has a decent playoff run, if they win the division, and don't sleep on Baker and the Bucks, okay? But if they win the division and they win 2 playoff games, then their money was well spent.
Okay, all right. Well, money being well spent, I think is the issue here. I have had a chart where it showed that if he gets paid out on this contract career-wise, he'll be second in career earning to Aaron Rodgers.
Wow.
But he will be ahead of Stafford and Brady. So he is in the top 4. He would be in the top 4 all-time earnings.
Right.
3 guys all won Super Bowls.
Right. And I don't think any team owner would be mad about that. Any team owner that had him would not be mad about that.
All right. Well, that's going to be his legacy, money. And if he can add a Super Bowl to it, that would be, that would solidify him,
Even in appearance, he ain't even got to win.
He's got to get there.
He got to get
well
there.
ahead of wherever he's been. That's no doubt about it.
If he can get there one time, no, I'm not going to say that. You know what I was getting ready to say, right?
But
if he could get there one time, he might make Hall of Fame, but I don't know. His numbers are really good. I have to go back and look at his career numbers. His numbers are really high.
Numbers are good. It's going to be numbers plus win-loss and all of that.
Yeah. He's got to string together a real playoff run.
But the bottom line is, Cam, follow your own advice. Too late now, but had you followed your own advice.
And he's saying it like it's a bad thing.
Well, no, he said it's not a bad thing. He's saying he's saying that's just what it is. That's why he thinks.
Okay, then he told the truth.
Yeah, he told the truth, and that truth might have applied to him. That's what our point is. So
the problem is, at the time, he wasn't thinking like that.
No.
Now that he's out of football, he sees.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. He learned.
Okay. All right. Well, Ben, that's all I got. You got anything more?
I got nothing else except for the promise that I will have mock draft 2024 1.0 ready for you next week, folks. Absolutely.
We're going to hold you to that promise, Benny.
I got you.
All right. Thanks for following. Please leave comments and suggestions. Our hashtag is football is life. Peace out.